Okay, so just a few information about where Kosice, our home city, is. It is in eastern Slovakia. It is the second city in Slovakia with 240,000 citizens. It is a very multinational, industrial, and creative city. But it is also a city in transition, but with growing disparities. And this is where we operate. And we also operate in the third city, which is Prešov, also in eastern Slovakia, the twin city of Kosice. And the situation of homelessness is very specific there, with a high number of homeless families. Just a short information about the housing market here. Housing in Slovakia is not affordable, and similar to other countries about which we are talking today, only 1.6% of the housing market is a social rental housing. In my city, it means that out of 97,000 apartments, only 1,500 are social houses, social apartments, and only 500 are dedicated to people who are at risk of homelessness. So imagine the number of apartments in general and number of social rental apartments, such a disparity. This is similar to other countries in Central and Eastern Europe, also a result of a huge privatization in the 90s and the beginning of 2000s. So that's the housing market. And short information about the Foundation DEDO. We have 26 years of experience. We originally started as an organization which has been focusing on crisis intervention, meaning we first started to build shelters for families just to prevent separation of children from their parents, and to prevent institutional care. But during our period of time, we moved to focusing on preventing homelessness and ending homelessness. Currently, we have two main programs, and I'm going to talk today only about a program, Housing with Support, where we apply housing first approach. But our organization is also very much involved in programs focusing on employment of people with the experience of homelessness, and we've spent a lot of time within advocacy and communication activities. So that's what we do. And when we started to think about applying housing first approach in Kosice, we found out that we have no data available. And to overcome this, we organized a registry week in 2021, which was a whole week activity. It was a point in time research performed by 100 volunteers. More than 20 organizations were involved, and we spent the whole week talking with homeless families, and we found out that there were at least 310 families who were homeless at that time, and in Kosice that we had at least 748 children, which is new information for us, because officially in our country there was no child homeless in Slovakia. So this was the first evidence we got. These families mostly live in shelters or encampments or informal settlements, and this is how it looks. These are the housing conditions of almost 200 families in our city. What we also found out that these families are very young, mostly with very young parents who very often don't have jobs. But there is one more striking point and information that we have about 12% of the families are those where there is the second generation of kids growing up in homelessness, meaning that these children are being born into homelessness in EU country. This is a map which just gives an overview of where informal settlements and encampments are. As you can see, these are mostly on the outskirts of the city and industrial zones. And I would say that in about 4 of those settlements, there are more than 40 families. Like, it is a huge population of people who live without access to drinking water and electricity and other necessities. This was the first and very important information we got about the families. And very important reasons why we also performed this registry week was that we wanted to have a understanding of the history of homelessness of those families, their structure, number of members, health conditions, and other things, so we can design a program that would be able to address those needs. Very important information we found only a few months ago is that homelessness is a much deeper and more significant issue in our city. Based on the official census performed by the national government in 2021, we had 5,019 people who lived in situation of secondary homelessness in 2021. And with the approximate number of people who might not be captured by this census, we think that there are about 6,000 people who experience homelessness and housing exclusion in the city. This means that the situation is very, very striking and challenging. So what we started to do to address this situation, and we started to do this 3 years ago, is that we focused on introducing the housing first approach. As my colleagues mentioned previously, also in Slovakia, we have this staircase model, which can also be called the housing ready model. And we know from the experience, but also from the European data that our international data, that only 20 to 40% of people are able to get to affordable housing in the existing system. So we wanted to pilot the housing first approach so we could have data and experience on how this innovation can work in our setting. So what we do is that we provide families who are currently homeless with affordable rental apartment, and we also provide them with support services in their homes. We are very much focused on separating the housing from the support, because this means that the families have their separate rental contract with they have to behave based on, and it also means that in case that they don't need support services, they can still sustain their housing, and vice versa. If they cannot sustain their housing, they will still have our support of the support team, and we try to house them again and again. What the result of such an approach and system is that the health of and feeling of safety increases in case of these families who are housed, and the stability and well-being as well. And we, of course, tackle the stigma of homelessness. I'm not going to share more about the housing first core principles, because Arturo already mentioned that. But anytime we have troubles in our programs, we have to go back to the principles, because we probably don't follow them. So the fidelity to those principles is extremely important. And I'm happy also to be one of the people who are currently being trained as a housing first trainer, and I will be able, and hopefully other people in Slovakia soon, to train other practitioners and providers, so this housing first approach can be scaled up. Just short information about our goals. Our goal is to decrease family homelessness in Kosice by housing 40 families in total by the end of this year. And here I want to share our experience with the cooperation with the municipality. And this partnership was instrumental in this process. Municipality rented to us 14 municipal apartments, which was initially a very strong help how we could start the piloting of the housing first approach. The municipality renovated those apartments. All of the apartments are scattered around the city, and it helped us to start the housing first program. Currently, we mostly operate as a social rental agency, and this is how we try to find apartments on the open market. We have a separate team of people who are providers, social workers, psychologists. We have also the legal advisor and nurse and peer workers in our team who help families to sustain their homes. Our goal is also to achieve that Housing First will become and will be a primary approach to end homelessness in local and national strategies. And this is also one of the things which is very important. And currently in Slovakia, we are ongoing the process of the preparation of the action plan to prevent and end homelessness. This action plan is being prepared for next 3 years. And we've been lucky that this year in spring, the national strategy on preventing and ending of homelessness has been approved. So we currently have the basis for our work across Slovakia. The ethos definition has been adopted for this strategy, and currently we are working mostly on the activities which will be focusing on how to improve the legislation and how to prepare funding for scaling up the housing-led approaches in the country. And our goal is also to end chronic homelessness in Kosice by 2030. That's it. These are our project partners, and you can see many of them are representing municipality or regional government or the national government. But I would like also to share how mentoring from Platform for Social Housing in Czech Republic has been instrumental in our work, and everything what we've been doing since 2018 was thanks to their mentorship and their help. Platform for Social Housing is an umbrella organization in Czech Republic, and they are very active in scaling up the Housing First approach in Czech Republic, and they're working with more than 20 municipalities across Czech Republic, where they try to create systems, integrated systems that would end homelessness in these cities. So this is something. This last slide, what we would like to get to, building an integrated municipal systems that would be able to end homelessness. And these are the parts which we will need. Real data in real time, united navigation in the integrated system, prevention of loss of housing, and integrated resources of support and housing. And we are working in our city and in Slovakia to get there, to have such models and to implement them, so we can start to work on ending of homelessness in our cities and country. Thank you very much.